I'm Legend, I play this game professionally, so I can probably hit rank 1. So next up, we're against a rogue, and this hand is awful. Get rid of absolutely everything here. You want to find things like Concoctor, Ghoulish Alchemist, obviously the Watcher of the Sun, and even Private Eye, especially if you have the coin. Overall, I like this hand though, and I'm worried that they're going Mech Rogue. But if they do go Mech Rogue, I do, like I said, have early minions, so it's fine. But they're going Secret Rogue. So this actually makes this matchup all of a sudden a lot more interesting. Since we have nothing else to play, we might as well play the 3-2 for mana cheat later on down the road. Hopefully we can draw like a potion belt or something soon. We don't really draw any other playable cards, so we forge the 2-3. And into the mirror match, I feel like playing the 3-2, there are two main win conditions in my opinion into most mirror matches. One, try to rush down your opponent. I had a 2-mana 3-2 that got some good mana cheat. I played Putricide to get a concoction here. I don't really like the options that I'm given. I wanted to like maybe summon minions or discover cards or something, which is why I play Putricide in the first place, but I end up just hero powering and hitting him in the face. But yeah, the main win condition is rushing him down. I had a 3-2 and a 2-drop, a 2-3, so I thought maybe I could do that. But the other cards I drew didn't support that win condition. So my new win condition has become try to outvalue my opponent, which means forge the 2-3, generate resources when I can, kill their minions when I can, and then play Ghoulish Alchemist for more mana cheat, and eventually play Putricide again for even more potions. Because again, they've already drawn more cards than I have, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to out-aggro them, so I need to do everything I can to get value. Then they play Putricide and kill my 3-2, which I'm a little bit upset about, and then they Shadow Step Astalor and kill my 2-3. So now they've generated a couple of potions themselves, and they have a 1-4 Putricide on the board that now I kind of feel like I have to deal with. Not to mention the fact that they have another 3-4 that just gave them a copy of the card they just randomly got from another class. We play Prep Queen Ashara because we need to play Prep to activate her. And we can play Horn of the Ancients for 1 mana to set up for the next turn. And luckily we get Gigafin. Gigafin, even though it says Devour, still counts as Destroy for Putricide. So those 3 minions on the board right now would equal 3 potions for me. And yes, the wording's a little bit weird. I actually talked to chat about this. They play Krakatoa, trade in a little bit. It's not that big of a deal to me. But I talked to chat about this, I'm like, hey, it says Devour, not Destroy. Is it like Sargeras, right? Where it puts the minions into the Twisting Nether and it's more of a poof effect, or something along those lines, right? Like Life Sentence, where it removes the minion from play, or Anachronos that sends them into the future. Generally speaking, the rule is, if Death Rattles go off when you play it, it is a Destroy effect. And since Gigafin, when he destroys minions, the Death Rattles go off, it is a it is a Destroy effect, which means it does synergize with with Putricide. So we play Putricide and then we play Gigafin, get 4 potions, and with the leftover mana, we go Private Eye to thin out our deck and get a couple of secrets out there, and then play the Concoctor because we have 1 mana left. We might as well. It's not like we're gonna get punished. Rogue doesn't really do well against wide boards. So everything we can do to get like 1 extra minion out there is usually worth it. And now they play the Prison of Yogg Saron and they target my 7-4. And I'm a little worried because if they kill it, they get a ton of minions back and it's a problem. Then they buff it with bananas and then put it in a dormant state, which is actually very good for me because it means it can't die for the next couple of turns, which is very, very good. They can't get their minions back, and I know that I now have to basically win the game in like 2 turns, or else they get their minions back probably, and things could be a problem. We played Divine Toll to pump up all of our minions. We used to rated Bone Spike to kill the 1-2, so that way all of the hits pump my minions as opposed to hitting the enemy minion. And somebody says I have lethal here, but I do not. They say you have 20 damage plus 1 with the weapon and the 3 damage from the concoction, but it's not quite there because the 20 damage includes the weapon already. But we end up randomly discovering the Outcast card that gives me 3 attack, and with that extra 3 damage, I did actually have lethal there. Next up, we are against a Death Knight, and we really like our hand here. Ghoulish Alchemist and Potion Belt are very, very good together, and Serrated Bone Spike would have been good if it was a Plague Death Knight to kill off an early threat. So we're going to play Potion Belt turn 2 and discover the potions. And we're gonna go with draw here because we want to draw Ignis, Queen Ashara, Krakatoa, and Prison of Yogg as fast as possible. Those are our win conditions against Blood Death Knight. And we're actually not gonna play the Ghoulish Alchemist this turn. We're just gonna Serrated Bone Spike to 2-3 and then play Mixed Concoctions for a little bit of hand space as well. But the reason we're not doing this is because we want to get as much mana value as possible. And leaving a mana floating on turn 3 feels bad. We waste 33% of our mana. Going into this turn, we prep out these sticky situations and then play the Private Eye to thin out my deck and get more secrets out there, one of which draws me cards. But anyway, the Ghoulish Alchemist, in some matchups, it is good to play the 3-2, even if you're losing mana. This is against hard aggro, because you're gonna need to fight for the board every single turn. But against a slower deck like this, I feel like there's better ways for you to use your mana. I can play the Ghoulish Alchemist on a future turn, which might be good later on, right? The mana cheat could be very beneficial on turn 8, so I'm glad that I saved it. We're sending stuff back to the deck. I decided to get rid of the Blood Boil, which allows me to flood the board a little bit without losing too many resources. Yeah, sure, they could still have like Corpse Explosion or something, but without Blood Boil, it limits their healing and pressure on the board, like or their ability to remove my pressure on the board. So they play a couple of minions. It's not really that big of a deal, and they're gonna trade in and kill off my 4-3, and then they're gonna kill off my 3-2 with their 2 minions. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? Krakatoa just on turn 6, very strong, pushing quite a bit of damage here. We still have a 6-6 on board. We have a 4 attack weapon, and all of a sudden, things look really, really good. Now they're worried that I have a secret, I think, still. I think they've tested out most of them at this point. They know that it's probably Ice Barrier, but it's not that big of a deal. On this one, I don't really remember what I take here. I don't want to draw that many more cards because I've already gone through a lot of my deck, but I also still haven't drawn Watcher of the Sun yet, which is kind of a problem. So we draw 2 cards, randomly generate something. A free 3/3 is definitely not bad. Serrated Bone Spike that thing, so that way Queen Ashara is active. And on this turn, I decide to not go Colossal. You're probably wondering, why not go Colossal here? Well, Blood Death Knight is known for being able to remove minions, right? They've got Asphyxiate, they've got Obliterate, they've got a bunch of different things. So I didn't want to go with the Colossal minion. I thought Resource Generation, again, would be quite good here. Also, drawing cards would help me maybe draw Watcher of the Sun. But on this turn, I'm pretty sure there's lethal here. I can play a Serrated Bone Spike on the 4-3, Hero Power Astalor to kill the top minion the 4-3 leaves behind, and I have exactly 4 damage left over to kill him off. It takes me a little bit to actually do the math here, because for some reason, I didn't realize I had 14 damage on the board, even though it tells me, but I found it, we win the game, and things are pretty great. So in the end, I climbed from 472 Legend to 393 Legend. Overall, I like this deck more than I thought I would, and is it good? I would say yes. There are better decks out there for sure, but if you want to play Rogue and not just play like Mech Rogue or something, this is definitely a viable option. A lot of resource generation, a decent amount of RNG, but a lot of fun and some decent counterplay to stop combo decks too.